Well, thank you for that generous introduction, Jean, and good evening, everybody. And thanks to the organisers for letting me join you all. The question I was posed with was, how intelligent are our intelligence services? And if we ask the same question of, say, another set of institutions, say Oxford colleges, would it make sense? How intelligent are Oxford colleges? They're filled with intelligent people. There's certainly no denying that. But there would be questions beyond that you would want to ask about the performance of the organisation. So, in answering the question, how intelligent are our intelligence services, I want to start by asking, what do we really expect our intelligence services to be able to do, and why? Now, my approach to this, and for those who want to follow this up, and since this is a literary festival, I will put in a puff for my own book. There are some flyers around on some of the seats, published in June. My approach to this is to define the primary purpose of intelligence agencies as improving decision-making by government, whether it's the armed forces, the security service, the diplomats, the policymakers, improving decision-making by reducing ignorance. Really, that's what it's about. And secret intelligence does that in respect of information that other people are trying their damnedest to stop you having. They're trying their best to stop you knowing certain things. That's why it's called secret intelligence. Hence the attention to secrecy of sources and methods, hence all the past obsessions with moles and counterintelligence and all of that. But what it comes down to, essentially, is that intelligence work is about shifting the odds in your favour. Now, the most dramatic example which Chris Miranda would give, if sadly, if he had been able to be here, would probably be Operation Fortitude, the deception operation to support the 1944 Normandy landings. And there's a brilliant account of that intelligence operation in his book. His book is on sale outside, and I thoroughly recommend it. What it reveals is the story of a remarkably talented group of intelligence officers, interestingly from all three branches of the intelligence services, who combined forces to make this possible. You will remember the story, General Rommel holding back key divisions in the Pas-de-Calais because that is where intelligence had led him to believe, through a series of deception operations, that the weight of attack would fall rather than in Normandy. It's perhaps the most successful intelligence operation there has ever been, and if I wanted to stick my neck out, I'd probably say will ever be, for the simple reason that it involved the domestic security service turning double agents, it involved the external secret service in running agents and information overseas, and crucially, it involved Bletchley Park and their decrypts, giving the assurance that the deception operation was actually being believed. There is nothing more dangerous than a deception operation that gets uncovered, but you don't know it's been uncovered, and therefore you lead the enemy directly to your weakest point. So I say it's a classic of its time, probably it was of its time. Whether such things can ever be repeated is an interesting question. So from those introductory remarks, you'll see that I place intelligence work in the context of risk management, shifting the odds in your favour. But even if you've got an odds-on favour, it can still trip at the last fence. Unexpected things, as the financial community has recently discovered, unexpected things do happen. Low probability events do happen. Intelligence services cannot guarantee results. And if you think about the chain that has to take place, of events that has to take place It's quite a long and complicated one. First of all, there has to be intelligence to collect a non-trivial question. It's the old debate between secrets and mysteries. Saddam Hussein poises his forces on the border of Kuwait. Is he going to order them over the border, or is it just pressurizing the government of Kuwait to settle their outstanding financial debts? Only he may know that, or he with a tiny number of people. Just imagine trying to recruit a well-placed agent inside the British Senior Civil Service last week in order to find out about this week's budget. Chances are there isn't intelligence to be picked up from most of the people who might recruit. So there has to be intelligence to collect. You have to find, secondly, ways of collecting it, all the tradecraft, all the different ways in which you can get it. If it's human intelligence, you have to be right twice. You have to be right in finding an agent who is capable of giving you information on the subject, and you have to be right twice because the information actually has to be right. And of course it may not be. You may be being given information in good faith, but actually it's not correct. So you have to have intelligence to collect, the agencies have to find ways of collecting it, it has to be then pieced together, the old analogy of several jigsaw puzzles, all the pieces mixed up together, no picture on the lid of the box. You've got to assess it correctly. Then it has to be conveyed to the policymakers in time for the policymakers to make or indeed to the military commanders. And then we have to make those policymakers, or military commanders, have to make the right judgment call on what to do with the information that they've been given. They have to understand it and then make that right judgment call. When you look at that chain, it only requires a flaw in one part of the chain to end up with what the popular media would describe as an intelligence failure. And tragically, this does sometimes happen. Again, the classic case, which Christopher would probably cite, would be the loss of Crete in 1941, where excellent intelligence, even that, does not prevent defeat. So the classic way of describing this is that intelligence is going to be patchy, fragmentary, often episodic, sometimes plain wrong, but, and this is why I introduce this in the context of risk management, if you use it regularly and sensibly, it shifts the odds in your favour. And if you're a government, the difference between working on one set of odds and another can be quite considerable.